Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome back to World of Warships. Today we have something different to what I would usually play for you, and this is Penguin in the Hosho at Tier 4 CV. Now I don't really play CV very much, and that's why I've asked him to give me this replay. We teamed up last night, him, myself and Addy from my clan, and we went out and had he had a fantastic game. So the Hosho has recently been buffed. It now has 6 planes in her torpedo attack squadron, so you can fire off 2 torpedoes at once instead of 1, which means that you can now do roughly around 10,000 damage for each attack if you land both of your torpedoes. So Penguin is going to show us today how you line up and attack with these planes. Now the thing is that we are trying to set a record. The current world record held for damage in a Hosho is 160,000. So I've given Penguin a challenge to try and break that record, and I'm happy to go out into the low tier games and help him out. And as you can see, look at that, that's nearly 10,000 damage, 9,500 damage on that Kohlberg, and straight away this guy's game is done. The thing with the aircraft carriers down here, making them now as powerful as they are, and look at that, got first blood straight away. That guy didn't even get into the game. It's not even 2 minutes in the game, minute and a half. And there's first blood. He hasn't even got out of the spawn yet. Now, giving them 2 attacks has made them so powerful that you put them in the hands of a top player, like Penguin for example, they just become an absolute damage farm. And that's what it is at Tier 4. At Tier 4 with your aircraft carriers, you haven't got fighters, so you don't need to protect your own ships with fighters because you haven't got them. The AA at Tier 4 is relatively useless. It doesn't really work very well. So I think the Orion, HMS Orion with a rating of 32 is the best anti-aircraft ship at Tier 4. So it's only really the battleships that are going to get you a bit of trouble, and we're going to notice a little bit later on there's a Wyoming here, and I believe he's regrinding the line because he has Halsey in his ship. Now either he's regrinding the American battleship line to get those special tokens that now you can get, so part of the research bureau, or he's just down here doing what we're doing and being certified clubbers, as Penguin says a bit later on. One fella tells him to get back and he's like, it's alright, it's alright. Now, 160,000 damage, you would have to do it in a Tier 4-5 game. This is a Tier 3-4 game. And I'm going to put a challenge out there to everyone who watches my channel on NA and on Asia, because I recently started an NA account, so I'll be able to do some videos and do some things about that as well. If you can score 161,000 damage in a Hosho on NA or Asia, the first person to give me 161,000 game in a Hosho, I will give you 3,000 doubloons. Okay, that's my challenge for Asia and NA. Now, it's going to start. The video replay didn't really like the fact that Penguin was moving the throttle around a lot with the aircraft, hitting that W and that S key every now and then. So if it starts jumping or it looks like it's lagging a little bit, it's not actually. It's just the replay system doesn't like the fact that the aircraft moves so fast, and don't like that when you slow them down and speed them up. It sort of doesn't like that. So this is our Wyoming, who is, as you can see, firing red traces. That's how we knew he had been to or has been to tier 10 before, and so this is why we think he's regrinding the line, running housey in there. But as you can see, that the AA, it is relatively strong for its tier, but then again, it's not strong enough. If that was a Midway versus Des Moines or something, it could have been a totally different story. And so here we go with this soulmate. He's telling Penguin to get back, but this is the thing that Penguin does very well. Every time you play with him, he brings his CV with the team. Very effective. If you can do it properly and get in behind the island and stay in cover, but then keep moving, it allows you to get your attack planes off a lot quicker. The reload time is a lot faster, so you don't want to really hang at the back of the map if you can, because if you're at the back of the map while you're playing aircraft carrier, you don't get enough planes off in time and you actually become a lot less effective. You don't want to put yourself on the front line where you're going to get killed, because that's just going to let yourself down, let your team down, unfortunately. So you might have noticed, see how it sort of slows a bit? So this is where he's mucking around with the throttle, and the replay system didn't like it, so don't worry too much about that. So he's already up at 67,000 damage with 15 there. They just counted those last two ones, so 15 torpedo hits already. And he was saying, I don't think I've ever hit this many torpedo hits in a game. He just kept racking up torpedo hits, and our team was trying to die a little bit. I was trying to cap here, but I end up getting spotted. As you can see, I'm the Clemson there at the cap at sea, and I get spotted by the aircraft carrier, and this battleship just absolutely pulverizes me. But now we have another torpedo hit, another flooding, and that's what you just want to do. You just want to keep hitting. Sorry, you want to aim for the nose, so the bow and the stern areas. The bow and the stern areas have got the softest armour. They don't have the torpedo protection belt, so they haven't got that reduction. And if you keep hitting them in there, you'll get the floodings. And floodings aren't what they used to be, I know, but a permaflood can still cause a lot of damage. You get a permaflood and then you get a permafire on top of it. There's 30-40 seconds, maybe even longer, of flooding and fire damage. That's a lot of damage. So you keep aiming for those areas and you'll do the most damage, because you'll get those floods, and those floods is what you want. So then you can make him use his damage control party, or DCP. Sometimes you'll see people put in the chat, this ship has DCP'd, and that means that they've hit their damage control party. So what you want to do is if you're an aircraft carrier or a destroyer, you want to launch torpedoes at them. You want to hit them with fire if you're a HE spareman ship, because then you're more likely to get that permanent damage on them. Now he's a bit worried here about this Wakeful coming around and killing him, so he beaches himself into the island to protect him. But as you can see, coming around, we've got a Kolberg there. There's a Kawachi coming. Addy and the Yubari's gone inside instead of outside, but it's not really going to matter too much. Two more torp hits and the Confederate. It's always good when you get a Confederate. So he goes in here for the launch. Now this is one thing that a lot of players would just let the torpedoes go. So he's come down for the attack and then he breaks off. And the reason he breaks off is because he says he's going to die anyway, so I'm just going to let him. Now that's a lot of faith in random players, but it should also be true that he's going to die. Sometimes when you play, you have to remember that, and especially in ranked is the worst, that you are the team, and it shouldn't be like that. But at tier 4 in a Hosho, you are the team. All you have to do is go around and farm damage, because you can't defend your own team by dropping fighters over them. So what you have to do is defend your own team by killing everything. and doing as much damage as you can. So with this new style with the double torpedoes, as I said before, it's made it really, really effective, really potent, and I think for newer players, I don't think it's the answer. If you're going to do that, you're probably going to have to put a little bit more AA on down here, because there might be a lot of people coming down and playing Hosho. So we just hit the high caliber as well. We're at 102,000 damage with 23 torpedo hits. That is a massive amount of torpedo hits. So one thing that really does have good AA at this tier are the aircraft carriers. And you're going to see the aircraft carriers and their AA defense right here. Now it comes in for a launch and gets absolutely attacked by the fighters, and it puts the drop off. It drops just a little bit too late. As you can see, it's gone way too far. But that's another reason why you want to move your aircraft carrier in the early game with your team, because if you keep moving up, especially on this map here, if you keep moving up the way he was moving up behind the islands with the team as much as you can, he is giving them the aircraft carrier anti-air firepower that you need to survive at this level, because you haven't really got AA and anything else. I mean, I was in the Clemson. Clemson's got hardly any AA at all. The Yubari, which Addy is in, and Addy just got his Confederate, so that was really good from both my division mates, both getting a Confederate. It has defensive AA, but its defensive AA doesn't really work that effectively. It can sort of protect itself a little bit, but it's not really a team player, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, more torpedo hits. So as you see, you pretty much just want to run your torpedo bombers for as long as you can. He goes on the attack on their Langley here, and he goes to run the bombers out, but then all of a sudden you see him just hit F and get them back, because there's 3 torpedo bombers on the deck. So it's better to take 3 torpedo bombers than to take a full squad of the AP bombers, because you're going to get more damage. Now, Japanese torpedoes are fast, and they're a lot faster than American and British torpedoes. Now with the Royal Navy, you need to get in close with your torpedo drops, because they are so slow, but you can drop them so far away that it's almost like dropping bombs. But with the Japanese, you can go a bit further back. They've got a bit longer range, they've got a bit more speed, so you can hit them from further away. And if you have to do that, you can, because sometimes the AA is, if you set yourself about 3 kilometers of AA rating at this tier, and you drop them about 3 kilometers or 3.1, 3.2, and then F, get out of there and bring your airplanes back, you still, if you've aimed it properly, you still be able to get off good hits. So we're up to over 17,000 plane damage, and it's still ticking up, which is really, really good for this tier. And then we got the 65,000 damage at his tanked away from the team, which is not bad, especially at this tier, and 48,000 spotting damage. Another torpedo hit, and that's going to be it, because the game is going to time out. What a top game. I understand, yes, that Penguin is one of the best aircraft carrier players that I've seen, compared to some of the newer guys who would be down here, but that is essentially how to play the Hosho. Just pull your torpedo bombers out and away you go. 125,474 damage, 28 plane hits, torpedo hits, sorry, Confederate, First Blood and high caliber. Finishes on top. Addy did really well as well in the Yubari. It's 6 kills between the division, and then I just got killed, so I didn't really do much. I didn't have to do much because of how well those fellas played. Anyway, that, guys, is essentially how you play the Hosho. If Penguin has showed there how to play it, so follow his lead and you'll be alright. Thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.